Hi guys, just want to go over risk assess and how to fill this out. Now, in your working scientific booklets, you should have this section on risk assessment. This is a very popular template that all the teachers are going to be using. This is the URL. You're going to have a username, a particular password that you can use. We will always come back to this as a way for you to show you can deal with risks in different experiments. So once you've entered your details and the password, you'll log in and it'll take you to a screen like so. These are the fields that you have to fill out. So let's have a look. Student's name, enter your name. You may choose to have a password to make this personalized and not available to other students. Your experiment name is going to be the period of a pendulum. You will have to enter in some procedures. Your teacher's name, what class you're in. You are Year 11 Physics. You are a Level 1 chemical trained person. Lab technician's Level 2. Whatever room you're normally in. The period. Whatever day. Okay, as you scroll down, any notes that you have to let know of the technician. There's nothing really that we have to write there. Now the pieces of equipment, everything should be itemized. So, for example, one retort stand with clamps, one bob. You might need masses, depending on what variable you're trying to, what independent variable you're trying to test out. Rollers, protractor string, stopwatches, and weighing scales. Now, each one of these you have to enter in this section. For chemistry, you might use chemicals that you might use in experiments, or you might have to deal with what is the outcome of those chemicals mixed, or in biology, you might have some kind of biological specimen that you have to be considering. But for us, it's all going to be equipment. So let's have a look at that. So we go retort stand. We got the stand and we got a clamp. Okay, now you enter each one of those. For some items, when you type them in with the ruler, a whole heap of choices come up, so make sure you choose the most appropriate one. Meter ruler. Okay, so this is all the equipment. Now remember, all this equipment is considering the 3 different hypotheses that we're going to be actually testing for this investigation. So you will only include what you need specific to you. Okay, as you scroll down, you can hit that to generate the risk assessment, and it will bring you to this page. As you scroll down, you can see all these fields are being filled for you, but this is kind of the important section that we're going to have to come back to look at. These are all the different pieces of equipment that we're going to be using, and what potential hazards can arise from them. If you scroll down, you can see different warnings that make you really think about what you're doing with this experiment. And if you scroll down, you can see, you can start thinking about what hazards you can actually encounter with these experiments. So specifically for us, you got things like falling objects. You might have some things that can puncture us, really things that can be hard. Breakages, yes, we could probably have some breakages. There's always a hazard about things going in our eyes and affecting us. But as you scroll down, you've got to evaluate what level of risk we're dealing with. Now, if you actually click on this link, it takes you to a page which defines this risk. So something low risk would be observing wheat seeds germinating. Medium risk will be boiling water in a beaker. High risk will be calcium oxide in water. And then something very dangerous or extreme risk would be something like adding sodium metal to water. Now, I think for us, at something that's low risk, so we'll tick that one, and all this will be left for myself to do and the laboratory technician. So going back up here, let's have a look at these hazards. Okay. Using a meter ruler, it could possibly lead to the actual ruler splinting and catching in your skin or hurting you in some way, like so. You got protractors. Okay, so you got something that can potentially break and scratch you due to these breakages. A retort stand, the center of mass of supported object is often high and the stand may topple over. So you have to think about this heavy object being centered and not falling and hurting others. So stopwatch, if connected to a string, can be swung around on the cord and hit people and other objects. And string may be used as a restraint. So a lot of these we can consider just logical things to avoid being hazardous. So let's have a look how that would look like in our risk assess. Okay, so let's say a hazard would be, let's go with the meter ruler, maybe used for sword fighting, right? So that's the hazard. Now the risk would be somebody getting a bruise from that, being hit from that, the ruler being broken and having sharp bits which can puncture you. Minimization strategy would be using the equipment appropriately, and a first aid, if something like that arose, would be something logical. Most of the time it's going to involve the teacher stepping in and actually doing something about it. But if you include things that are logical for first aid, that'll be good. So for example, if you got a puncture, you'd want to talk about applying pressure to the wound. If you've got a burn, you'd want to talk about running it under water, and anything that's logical. Okay, so that's what you're doing for that particular section of your assessment or your investigation. But once you've filled this out, you can scroll down. If you need to keep a digital copy of this, you can enter your email address here, email it to yourself. But once you've done that, this is already saved and I'll have access to that so I can examine that you have done it.